Hello, and welcome to another episode of Virtual Paleontologist Study Guide. So today we will be covering the page's famous paleontologists, top-rated dinosaur museums, and famous fossil profiles as being there. Very simple and straightforward. So the famous paleontologist page just covers basically 10 greats in the business of paleontology. First, you see Jack Horner. So Jack Horner is one of the most famous paleontologists in the world right now. Two or three questions will be based on his accomplishments on the test. So basically the only major things that you'll need to know about him are that he discovered the Maiasaura along with its eggs, proving that dinosaurs cared for the young. You'll also need to know that he is the advisor for the Jurassic Park series to make sure that everything is technically accurate. For the rest of the paleontologists, you'll just need to know basically their accomplishments. You won't need to know like when they were born, who they were married to, where they lived, where they went to university. So I'll quickly cover that with you. So Mary Schweitzer, she discovered tissue in a Tyrannosaurus skull, raising questions to whether how fossils were fossilized. Then Louis Alvarez, he was the physicist, but paleontologist at heart, who discovered the high levels of iridium in the Cretaceous and the next era rock level, proving that a meteor killed the dinosaurs. Then you have Mary Anning, who is a fossil collector. She's most well known for her discovery of the ichthyosaur and plesiosaur. That's all that you'll need to know about her. Robert T. Backer, what you'll need to know about him is that he strongly fought to believe that dinosaurs were warm-blooded, and for him, there won't be a question on him, but rather you'll need to know three different arguments for why dinosaurs are warm-blooded. So I'll give you just three examples right now. So all animals that walk upright today are warm-blooded, and dinosaurs walked upright. The predator-to-prey ratio of the predatory dinosaurs to their prey is a signature trait of warm-blooded predators rather than cold-blooded ones. And some dinosaurs lived in northern latitudes where it would be impossible for cold-blooded dinosaurs to keep warm. So you'll just need to know three of those points. There are six on the webpage, so you'll need to remember half of them. Then there's Barnum Brown, who discovered the biggest first tyrannosaur fossil ever found. He also found the Hell Creek rock formation, which is where many fossils have been discovered. He also played a part in the Bone Wars, which I'll get into a bit later, so that's important to know. He's one of the bigger paleontologists on this page. Then you have Edwin H. Colbert, who he didn't really make any big discoveries, but he did dig for fossils in Antarctica and found many dinosaurs that would have lived in the cold, helping to prove the warm-blooded dinosaur theory. Then you have Edward Drinker Cope, who sorry, I need to go back. Barnum Brown did not actually was not in the Bone Wars. I'm sorry about saying that. It was Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel C. Marsh. So don't. It was those two, and not Barnum Brown. So about Edward Drinker Cope, along with being part of the Bone Wars, he also discovered over 1,000 fossil vertebrates, including the Camarasaurus and Dimetrodon. So he discovered many, many dinosaur fossils. In fact, no one in the world has discovered more than him. Then you have Dong Ziming, who was the basically Chinese role model paleontologist, who has discovered a large number of new fossils, more than 20 actually, including Hadrosaurus, Pachycephalosaurus, and sauropods. Then you get to our last paleontologist, Othniel C. Marsh, who also was in the Bone Wars, along with Edward Drinker Cope. So he too discovered many fossils, but not quite as many as cope, but he did discover the Allosaurus, Stegosaurus, and Triceratops. So now we'll get a bit more into the bone wars. Basically, what you'll need to know about the bone wars for the test is if you think that the bone wars were successful for paleontology or if they were not successful. So the bone wars were basically where these two paleontologists, Edward Drinker Cope and Othniel Seal Marsh, were fighting about fossils, and they were like stealing many fossils from each other and then destroying them. So you lost a bunch of fossils, but they also discovered thousands, actually, like almost 2,000 new fossils. So do you think it was a success, or they lost too many fossils, so it was not? Then you have other famous paleontologists and their achievements. None of this would be on the test. It's just if you want to learn more about some of the great paleontologists in history. So you have like people like Jose F. Bonaparte, who discovered the Argentinosaurus, which is the largest dinosaur ever to walk the earth. But he didn't have as many achievements as some of these other fossil paleontologists, so he is not as important and will not be on the test. So don't worry about studying that. Then we're going to go on to our next page, top-rated dinosaur exhibits. So basically all that you'll need to know on this page, it's not really much. You'll just need to know what these different locations and museums have to offer. So like if I tell you like what museum could you go to see Sue the Tyrannosaur? You know that you'd go to the Field Museum in Chicago. So there are different museums that I cover. There's the Smithsonian Museum, which has a great dinosaur exhibit. Then we have the Royal Ontario Museum, which is in Toronto, which is where I live. And I've been there, and it is a very, very good museum. They have a good dinosaur display. However, most of the fossils there are cast, so that's why it's not rated as well. Then you have the Museum für Naturkunde, which is basically German for the Natural History Museum, and it's in Berlin. It has the largest collection of Diplodocuses and also the largest Diplodocus ever found, so that's interesting. Then you have the Field Museum, which is where Sue the Tyrannosaurus hold, along with many other fossils. It's also where Night at the Museum 1 took place. Interesting fact. The Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences. So here, this place is known for the standout of 30 iguanodon fossils on display. So that's pretty cool. And their Mosasaur Hall is also very well known. Then you have top-rated dinosaur dig exhibits. So these aren't exactly museums. They may have museums in them, but they're also just seeing how things fossilize, and paleontologists actually dig up bones. So first you have the La Brea tar pits. So these are located in Hancock Park, which is in LA, so California. Basically all that you need to know about the La Brea tar pits is you can see how fossils are fossilized in tar and learn more about Ice Age animals, because that's basically when the tar pits were around. Then you have the Drumheller area, more specifically Dinosaur Provincial Park. I personally have been there, and it is amazing. There are like dinosaurs lining the streets with different descriptions on them, and there's a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex statue that you can actually climb up, so you just get your dinosaur knowledge improves a lot. And then in Dinosaur Provincial Park, you can take a tour and just learn more about fossilization and the difference between bones and fossils. Then you have the Petrified Forest, which is in Holbrook. You'll need to know where that is. Well, you don't need to know where Holbrook is. You'll just need to know that the Petrified Forest is in Holbrook. The Petrified Forest is just basically a forest that has been a forest where the wood has been completely petrified over the Ice Age period. It's pretty cool as it looks on the website, and you can just learn more about fossilization here. Then finally, you have the Mammoth site, which is in the South Dakota Hot Springs. Here you can basically just learn more about how paleontologists dig up fossils, along with learn about how fossilization occurs without mass extinction, because the many animals that died here didn't die because of a mass extinction. They died because a cave caved in on them, and then they, like, eventually, well, since they were covered in dirt, they were fossilized. So yes, that is all for the famous dinosaur display page. Now there is the famous fossil profiles. So basically, this just covers the um, different famous and paleontology studying changing fossils. So first you have different fossils that change paleontology history. So you have your iguanodon, your megalosaurus, your mosasaur, your hadrosaur, your archaeopteryx, your diplodocus, your coleophyses, your maiasaura, your Sinoceratops, your Bachylophosaurus, your Silosaurus, your Eutyrannus. You'll only need to know about 4 of these dinosaurs for the test. You won't need to know like when they were discovered, who they were discovered by. You'll just need to know like what they proved. For instance, the iguanodon, it was the second dinosaur ever discovered, and it was a sauropod, and it just opened up that whole new category of dinosaurs. The mosasaur was just a huge aquatic creature. The Archaeopteryx, this will definitely be on the test, showed the relationship between dinosaurs and birds, as I already discovered in a previous video. The Asilosaurus, the closest thing between a dinosaur and a reptile, or the closest thing to a dinosaur without being a dinosaur. And then the Eutyrannus, which is the feathered Tyrannosaurus rex. Then you have a video of 15 unbelievable fossil discoveries. These will not be on the test. However, there may be some information about how different fossils can prove different things that will be on the test. So then you have 4 famous dinosaur skeletons, or just fossils. So first you have Sue the Tyrannosaur, which, like I said before, is the largest Tyrannosaur ever discovered. You won't need to know how big it is or anything. You'll just need to know like where it is located, and also the dispute over it, which just proves that you really need to get permission before digging for dinosaur bones. So Sue Hendrickson was digging on this Indian reserve. She found the dinosaur, but then there were a bunch of disputes over why it wasn't hers, and then it ended up getting sold for auction. So she lost the fossil, being one of the most famous fossils ever found, because she didn't get permission. Then you have the Turcanaboy, which is a nearly complete skeleton of a hominoid which died in the early Pleistocene. It is the most complete Neanderthal skeleton ever found. So that is very interesting. It also proves some evolution facts because its hip bone was very alike that of a human and not like an ape. So it kind of showed the evolution between apes and humans. Then you go to Lucy, the Neanderthal, which the song Lucy and the Sky of Diamonds was named after. That's by the Beatles. You will need to know that for the test as a bit of like paleontology pop culture. So this too, Lucy had a very similar hip bone to humans, like the Turcanaboy, and like it was very close to humans and not close to chimps. This is probably one of the most famous Neanderthal finds. It was a 40% complete female Osteopirithecus, and it lived 3.2 million years ago, so it's a very, very old fossil. So that's it. Oh, and then you have the final fossil, which is 289 Baptistina, which is the meteor that killed the dinosaurs. Basically, what you'll need to know about this is that it like crashed off the Yucatan Peninsula, and you'll also need to know how it created the crater. So there's an animation on the webpage that shows how impacts can like create different types of craters. Because like how did a 6 or a 12 kilometer long meteor turn into a humongous crater more than like 20 kilometers deep and 120 kilometers wide? So yes, you'll need to know that for the test. So thank you. The next category will be going on display.